about like, when you get a win and when you get a loss. Because some people they're like, they get a win, they're like, that's not it. On to the next one. They don't really acknowledge the victories or, bask in. They're always on, and sometimes, that they never really celebrate it. Or some people who experience the loss, they experience the loss hard. So like, what are the things that you tell yourself when you win and when you lose?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a really good question. Yeah.
For me, when I win, I really try to look at the circumstances of what did I win and how, why, and how does this affect me? And usually it's very positive, and it's also something you can learn from that win. Like I'll give you an example. The last time that I won a battle with my break crew, Concrete All Stars, we went in this jam. It was like from the second we stepped in the jam, we were meant to win. Like we walked in there, we all had matching gear on. We looked like a break crew, and this is a jam, which is a new generation type of event. We were older than most people there, okay? But we went in there, we showed them what's up.
Yeah.
Meaning that we embodied this culture of b-boying. You know what I mean? We came in with the matching joints, with our names on it, with our crew name on the back. We came with routines that we knew we could strategize, because I worked with these guys so many times doing these same routines, and we do it like with finesse and with happiness in our hearts because we love this dance. So it was like, to me, I know that us winning that jam was very natural. We really didn't have much competition going into that, and it was a positive, a good thing for us to do. You know what I mean? So that's sort of like the lesson I took from that win. And when I lose, I do the same thing. I'll be like, why did we lose? What happened? What can I learn from this? And even if it's a really grueling defeat, one of my biggest defeats was when I blew out my knee.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I blew out my knee on stage in this arena in Duluth, Georgia, in front of like 8,000 people, and literally screamed like, ah! Like it hurt physically and it hurt emotionally, and it was very scary because in my mind I'm like, what am I gonna do after this? You know what I mean? So, however, I had to go inside and really think, why did this happen? What did I do to make this happen? Because I made that happen. You know what I mean? And I didn't take good enough care of my body. I was kicking it too much and not taking enough physical care of my body. I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't standing up for myself enough as a performer. That's another thing, because a lot of dancers and a lot of performers, our mentality or our bringing is to go, just do it. You got this. Let's go.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to stop and say, no, hold up, wait. I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
real,
so that was the problem I had with that particular show, was I was already injured. There was already a torn ligament in my knee, but they didn't let me stop. And what I should have done is put my foot down and said, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a big challenge for a lot of performers. Me personally, usually I'm very good at that. And this was just a time when I should have pushed it harder, and I should have pushed my own physical fitness, physical therapy, and recovery harder. But unfortunately, I had to take that L. Yeah. And when I took it, I turned it into a huge positive, because I used it as an excuse to learn everything about this injury and how to rehabilitate it so I could get back to dancing 100%. And I used it as I call it like a wounded soldier, wounded warrior mentality, because I'm like, I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do, but I have to adapt my activity around this. And I can't deny it. I fell into a very negative space during that time. You know what I mean? Like, think about it, dude. I've been breaking and doing graffiti. I've been active my whole life. Even since a little kid, I was always really wild and really physical, and like always got to do something very physical of myself. And to take that, a person like me, and be like, lay down and ice your knee all day, watch a movie, just chill. I can't do that. I cannot fucking do that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, guess what I did? I drank a lot. You know what I mean? I smoked a lot of weed, and that's just being honest with you. Like, that's one thing where I'm like, if I do this, I'll be able to chill just as long as I want. But that's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for recovering and rehabilitating yourself, because those things are going to be basically slowing you down. More so than alcohol than the weed, in my opinion. But that was a huge challenge, and I had a lot, and it was just a huge life lesson, ongoing, continuing. Not only that, I was on workman's comp for 2 years while I was healing up, and that is its own continuing life lesson, because workman's comp is ruthless. They drop you.
Yep.
They'll drop you on. You collect a paycheck every week, which is dependent upon your follow-up. All you have to do, go to every doctor's appointment, submit every piece of paperwork, follow up with every single person, including your physical therapist. And I did that to a T. I was at every appointment on time. Got the thing signed by my doctor, sent it straight to my case manager every single time. Same thing with physical therapy. And I learned along that time that not only did they try to just intentionally drop you sometimes and make it look like an accident, which they did. It's like, yo, my paycheck didn't come this week. Talking to my case manager. My paycheck didn't come this week. What's going on? And they go, oh, looks like your name was dropped from the system. I'm sorry. We'll just put all your info back in, and next week you'll get 2 paychecks. And it's like, oh, okay, great. So you're checking if I'm even following up, basically.
Wow.
And then not only that, they also spy on people. And they do stuff to catch people and film them and record them, spying on them to bump them off of your health coverage and your workman's comp benefits. Because you know, I was on it for 2 years, collecting a paycheck every week. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So for that company and those businesses, sometimes they want to be like, this guy looks healthy. Let's see if he's really injured. Put a $20 down, a $20 bill down on the ground in front of his apartment building. When he comes down, if he bends down to pick it up, you know, Odyssey in and of itself taught me a huge lesson about life, like so many lessons. And that's what I'm trying to get to. When you take an L, take a minute and sit back, let that frustration settle and think, why did this happen? What did I do? How did I do this? Because, yo, frankly, you probably did it in some way. You know what I mean? You did. And if you want to get better and you want to recover and come back past that, what can you do to get past that? And to say, if I was to walk into this same situation and change the outcome, what would I do? And go forward from there.
Yeah.
What are you, Kass?
So with wins, it feels really good at the time, right? But I think now in this day and age, we tend to be in this like fast-paced society where we, like you said, tend to go on to the next one. And so sometimes you're winning, and then you get to a point and you finally get to a loss, but you forget about all the wins you've had up until this point to get to the loss. And I think something I'm learning to do is to really enjoy the win, write down how you feel, know. It's almost like observing and taking notes, like figure out how you got there. What are the steps that got you to the win? Like, so that you can win again. In regardless of whatever you're doing, be it a competition or, oh, I got to this country today, or hey, we're on this residency today. To me, like right now, this experience is a win. And so something that I've been trying to do, which I try to think about because I don't think I did that enough as a kid and teenager and young adult, is to really just get grounded into the win and understand and feel good about it and be proud of what it took me to get here. So for me, like doing this first residency, everything's like paid for, and we're getting to do what we love to do, inspire the young generation. It's like I want to remember this forever and enjoy this win and always know how I got to this point. How did I get here? So that I can continue forward to try and get other wins, as I continue. Now, when it comes to the losses, I want to say the same thing. Something that I did, that's my behavior, I tend to just be like, okay, I lost, okay, move on. I don't really go through the emotional cycle of it. I'll just try and like, move on. Let me get to the next challenge. It's like almost like in denial. So something I've worked hard to try and do is just to feel the loss. And like he said, it's like if you're losing, like one recent loss I had was last year. I was in a video for this like South African artist. And again, it was like a gig that I got off social media. But I felt like I hadn't been doing enough of the work that I used to do as far as like being on camera and dancing on camera. So I didn't see at the end of the day when the shot was released on Vivo or whatever, I'm like, oh man, where's my freestyle clip? And I'm thinking, man, they probably didn't like it. And I'm thinking back into it and I'm thinking, well, I was out of breath. I didn't even do as well as I could have on my freestyle. Prior to even being booked on the shoot, was I going over my material? Was I doing the work that I needed to do in that style of dance? Or was I just basing it off all the previous wins and being like, oh yeah, I deserve this. And then now I get to this loss, but I'm forgetting all the steps it took to get to the win, which is why they noticed me in the first place to book me.
The racking of the W's made you feel entitled?
Exactly. It's like a sense of entitlement. And so it's like you have to revel in the wins and the losses and take notes on both so that you know what you want to continue doing, what you don't want to do, and how do you learn from the things you did do that didn't get you to the win, but it kept you in that loss. Yeah. You know, but you want to really stay grounded in the loss. Don't put it in denial, like feel it, take the notes, and then figure out how you can transform it, how you can fix it so that you can get a win. Or even if it's not a complete win, how do you get up from that level of where you were at? If we were doing like a scale of 0 to 10, if you were really at a level of 2, how do I at least change a step or add a step to get to the level 3? So I say, yeah, really taking into consideration what it means to win and lose, and knowing the steps that it took to get to both so that you can pick and choose.
Yeah, I think one thing that we kind of bypassed, which was in his question about self-talk, is that you got to understand this perspective that we're both giving is we both have very high self-esteem, and we both have like very positive self-talk already.
Yeah.
I didn't really mention that, but my thing is like I believe so much in myself and what I do that when people ask me what I do, I want to tell them I'm a superhero because that's how I see myself. Yeah. If that sounds conceited, you know, that's whatever, but I don't mistreat people badly or look down on anyone else because of that. That's what I think, and I think everybody else has that capacity and is to be their own superhero as well. So my self-talk is very positive. Yeah. When I get up every day in the morning, I look up and I go, I'm alive. Thank God.
Yep. Grateful.
You know, you have to be grateful. You have to be positive about who you are. And so I think we kind of bypass that because I know for a lot of people that maybe don't feel that way about themselves, it's crucial, man. It's hard. You got to appreciate yourself.
First,
appreciate yourself, who you are and what you're doing, and really shift into that and really loving yourself, because you will see that you are worth it and you deserve it. And when you feel that way, you bring that same vibration to other people, and you also receive it more readily from them, and you can see it coming from them instead of being insecure about who you are and insecure about the other people around you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So self-talk is very important, and it's very important to love yourself and be positive about who you are and what you're doing in life.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a bathroom break real quick, but I think one of the things that that's super important, because just based off what they're talking about, is look at me, I'm on the dark side right now.
I know, and then like I'm getting complete
I'm gonna have to fix this in post.
Emeroy.
Super white.
And I'm like glowing out here, like.
So like
you are
glowing.
Are you pregnant?
No. Emeroy, focus on the.
So, anyways, I think one of the things
that's what it is to be with antics men.
That's
in a sentence.
That's kind of important. Is, you know, there's the self-talk is important. The self-esteem is important, especially for those of you who feel like you don't have it because you had a tough upbringing, you were bullied a lot, and shit, I was bullied a lot growing up. Which is one of the reasons I got a temper that really affected me negatively in my adulthood. But I think that when it comes to the self-talk, I think that it starts, you know, obviously self-talk's talking how you talk about yourself. I think that can start. The common thing is like it's very funny to be self-deprecating. So like I'm too short to be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's a joke, your physiology, your mentality doesn't know the difference. Yeah. It's gonna start believing and you'll start seeing, you know, what you focus on, you know, that's where energy goes. Yeah. And then that self-talk has to start with how you say certain things every single day. It's within the language of how you say things. Like, I'm never gonna be that. You're right. You're never gonna be that because you just said it and kind of put it out there in the universe. There's that whole saying, like, you know, whether you think you can or can't, you're right. Same thing with yourself. How you say yourself. Like, instead of saying, you know, I'll never be that, I can't be that yet, but I will be. It's a simple thing. One of my friends told me the most life-changing thing I ever said to her was, we were at rehearsal. She's like, "Oh my God, I hate my life right now. Like, I hate my life." And I told her, like, at this very moment, you hate it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're completely denouncing everything good that's happened in your life. So the languaging is super important. It's something that we overlook in terms of how we talk to ourselves. I mean, because we're running constant scripts of our upbringing, like how your parents viewed you, your teachers, your cousins, and then a lot of the things we think about ourselves aren't exactly true. Because when there's a point when we were kids that we're more confident than most adults.
Yep.
And then, then it gets buried and hidden by the scripts and the language from other adults trying to protect you because they're doing their best, but it didn't necessarily serve you for this journey of life.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of like unlearning those scripts and being self-aware, like, which is why I love what Gil said about journaling, because it helps tracking. And I'm very big on the saying, what gets tracked, what gets measured gets managed. So if you're able to be aware of the thoughts that come in, that can help you track of, okay, you become aware of what's holding you back, and then you can change it. For me, when I was, I think, going through therapy and trying to help manage my anger a lot better, a lot of it, this is one of my favorite things, like when and it had to be super simple, I would journal it with my left hand. And I was like, I felt this because, and it was like almost, not only, it was activating like almost me like as the inner child.
Yeah.
And then on the right side, I would have to be the adult and see how I would heal myself from that.
That's, wow.
So, and it was like, that shit was transforming.
That's really powerful.
That's awesome.
So then, and like, it's creative in a sense, and also, again, measuring it, and then you start seeing the patterns in your life. And a lot of people are unaware of the patterns that are constantly, in cycle, and then, and then they wonder why their life's not any better, because they're they're stuck in a pattern that they're unaware of, sort of the matrix, so to speak. So, bathroom break.
Deep.
Yeah. We're able to have the conversation of understanding that we have it inside of us. Everybody has it inside of them. Sometimes people aren't able to tap into that power per se. And I think sometimes it is like what you mentioned. Your friend was affected by you, but all you had to do was say something about it. So it can sometimes be about the environment. So if you have to take yourself out of situations and patterns in which your society, the society that you choose to be in, is not. I guess I'll take it as if it's a garden. You are a garden. So if you're not tending to your garden and the things around you, there's weeds, and you got to pluck the weeds. You got to take it out. So you got to take out the weeds and take away the things that don't serve you best, and put the things that do serve you. And if you aren't able to tap into it, sometimes it's not a matter of fake it to make it, but you have to learn the process. Like for me, a lot of it was reading. I think he mentioned it earlier in another question, like the books you read. Like I had to read about my soul and my spirit to really start to get connected into it, because I had been like systemized so much so that I felt like I was disconnected from my own self, my own wants and needs. And I was basing it off what people say or society says, things around me are saying what's important. So I had to read things like, I don't know, The Power of Intention. He mentioned a great book, The Alchemist, that we talked about before. In order to start exposing myself, and then also gain things from friends and people that I'd be around that are good for my environment, that could nurture my progress and my growth. So learning things like listening to motivational speeches, or being around people that do think positively about themselves, so it then inspires you to want to think the same way about your own self. So I think that's important, knowing that your environment is also a way that you can learn,
I mean, you guys